over-trimmed, it looks like. We got the air, and he doesn't. We're eating his lunch.
Right.
Nothing like starting in the right position.
I'm really staying up right now. I don't want to have to do 2 tacks. And I don't want to hit the bridge.
Good in the main, hold the main. That's good.
More trim, Bruce.
Wind it up.
Yep, talk to you. You see upper quad there, Brennan? You see what? Pardon me?
Newport, Rhode Island, known as the commercial center of 18th century America and the vacation resort of the 19th century. The industrial magnates built their mansions here. They fast became the embodiment of their wealth, showing an increasing tendency toward grandeur. Newport, Rhode Island, for years the venue for the pursuit of the oldest trophy in sports. Hi again, everybody. I'm Jim Kelly, and welcome. The J-boats chased each other across the high seas in pursuit of the America's Cup back in the 1930s. Only 10 of these extraordinary sloops ever existed. They were built back then by gentlemen yachtsmen who thought more of glory than of cost. For indeed, yachting then was the arena for power and wealth, and one of the few places where tradesmen could actually rub elbows with royalty. And now, a half a century later, after sailing the seas off Newport, long synonymous with the America's Cup, the J-boats are back.
Dry is bold and wet. The taste of dry is less sweet. Michelob Dry, brewed longer, so taste after taste, there's just no aftertaste. Michelob Dry, bold taste with no aftertaste.
Glad to be in America, back in the good old USA. I've been missing my baby, the sweet green earth, and a pure simple meal made America's way.
A lean quarter-pounder hot off the grill with crispy golden fries.
America's meat and potatoes.
I'm home.
That's McDonald's.
If you shower with soap, this is what you're missing.
Zestfully clean.
Never before. Never with soap.
Zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
Soap leaves a sticky film behind, but Zest rinses clean away. Zest deodorant lathers you clean, then rinses you cleaner. With Zest, you feel cleaner because you are cleaner.
Zestfully, zestfully, zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
To be honest with you, I like to be able to pronounce everything I read in the labels. I like to think of myself as having a healthy, balanced diet. That means less salt, less fat, all that sort of thing.
Introducing Healthy Choice frozen dinners. Truly delicious meals, low in fat, sodium, and cholesterol, so they can help you keep your heart healthy.
I would say it certainly passes my strictest tests.
Listen to your heart. Make a healthy choice.
The J-boat sailed for only 7 years in America's Cup competition, and there were only 10 of them ever built. But some say that this was the greatest age of yachting. They had names like Ranger, Rainbow, Velshita, Yankee, Weedamo, Whirlwind, Shamrock, Enterprise, and Endeavor. They were immense, these boats that measured 130 feet in length and displaced 165 tons. And they were gorgeous, with flush decks and shiny hardware and polished wood. Most incredible of all, their rigging. The Jays had masts that towered 165 feet above the water. booms that measured 63 feet in length, mainsails of 5,000 square feet, and spinnakers of over 18,000 square feet. In 1930, Sir Thomas Lipton failed in his last of 5 attempts to win the America's Cup. In 1934, one of the few people who could afford a $400,000 yacht like Endeavor in the middle of the Great Depression was Thomas Octave Murdoch Sopwith. Sopwith had made a fortune building airplanes. His famous World War I Sopwith Camel, the most successful fighter plane of its time. His American counterpart, Harold Mike Vanderbilt, with Rainbow. Vanderbilt, the proprietor of the railroad, and of course, Contract Bridge. In 1934, Race 3 contested on September 20th. Sopwith's Endeavor led Vanderbilt's Rainbow 2 races to none. Even Vanderbilt was feeling hopeless. By the time Rainbow reached the turning mark of the 3rd race, he felt the cup slipping away. All Sopwith had to do was stay on starboard tack for a couple of hours, and he would have a 3-race to none lead. Vanderbilt turned the helm over to Sherman Hoyt, as was his custom in light wind. Hoyt sailed a little high on the course in search of wind. Sopwith panicked and tacked. Rainbow, never tacking, won the race by over 3 minutes. Race 4 went to Rainbow, although under protest, and Endeavor lost the 5th race by a wide margin. In 1937, the mistakes were not repeated, but Ranger was no Rainbow, and Sopwith was beaten in straight races. With some understatement, Vanderbilt observed of the 1930 Cup races, it would seem that errors played the major part in deciding the issue. Of course, he was the one who would make the fewest mistakes in the closest Cup match ever. World War II intervened. Dodging the bombs that destroyed much of England and the rest of Europe, the J-boats were scrapped for their parts, all but 3. What has happened since? Laced with controversy. 1983 and the waters off Newport, Rhode Island, the venue for yet another showdown for the oldest trophy in sports. The United States would defend yachting's holy grail in a slow red 12-meter named Liberty. America's Cup veteran Dennis Conner would be the skipper. It's a tribute to Dennis Conner's sailing skill that somehow, even in a slower boat, he managed to muster a 3-1 lead over the Aussies, for Australia 2 was clearly the faster boat. But John Bertrand was having trouble sailing her to her true speed and was being outmaneuvered by Conner, until the Aussies almost unthinkably managed to win 2 straight and square the series at 3 races apiece. What followed was billed by yachtsmen the world over as the race of the century. Clearly, for the first time, Conner appeared vulnerable in a slower boat. Bertrand, with time ticking down, had finally mastered the mysterious boat from the land down under. And when the Aussies crossed the finish line first and the gun went off, it was the shot heard round the world again. Because for the first time in 132 years, the Cup's home would not be America. Dennis Conner would wear the albatross of being the only U.S. skipper in history to lose an America's Cup. And Ben Lexon would go down in history for designing the marvelously effective wing keel. The Aussies would invite the world to a wonderful multinational regatta in 1987. The United States, Great Britain, Italy, France, New Zealand, and Canada all would come. The Aussies themselves would send 4 syndicates to Fremantle, Western Australia, to fight for the right to defend. Alan Bond, who unbolted the Cup and took it halfway around the world, would lose in the Defender finals to arch-rival Kevin Perry's Kookaburra. But the Aussies had no chance. For one man, and one man only, waited and plotted and prepared for 40 long months like no other. Dennis Conner was that man on a mission to recapture the America's Cup. His boat, Stars and Stripes, with a veteran crew, all champions that he molded into a championship crew. US 55, the Gunsmoke blue boat from San Diego, never trailed in the finals of the America's Cup. Stars and Stripes led the Aussies at every mark of all 4 races. It would go down as a whitewash for Uncle Sam, 4 races to none, and a clean sweep by Conner. Dennis vindicated after waiting 40 long months. 40 months since tears filled his eyes in Newport after losing. Again, tears would fill his eyes, only this time tears of joy, for the America's Cup was coming home. There would be little time to rejoice, because Michael Fay, an Auckland, New Zealand businessman, would quickly offer a renegade challenge in his monstrous but beautiful big boat KZ-1. But was the New Zealand challenge legal? To court they went. Judge Carmen Saperic said yes, this was a legal challenge. The San Diego Yacht Club, the current keepers of the Cup, would have to defend. A renegade challenge called for a revolutionary defense, a catamaran.
It is really disastrous. I have the greatest admiration for Ted Turner and Connor as helmsmen and so on, but they've become involved with interests, massive interests, financial interests that have nothing to do with sailing. That's a personal view. And it's a great shame that egos and money have really spoiled the whole aspect. We're waiting for court decisions and so on. And I hope they'll knock their heads together and get down to some sense and start the competition again on a proper basis.
Yes, and perhaps they will. Maybe it is the legacy, the history, the gallantry of these yachts here, the J-boats, that will finally turn the tide and restore some order to a sport that has spawned big business.
I think we're just about ready for our coin toss here. We're having an argument about who's going to flip the coin. I'll try to flip the coin, and I'll probably mess it up, typically.
You call it.
No, you call it.
No, you call it.
What's going to happen is one of these two guys, if they can make up their mind, is going to call it, and whoever wins gets to choose the boat that they want to sail first.
You know, wait a minute. Before we do this, you know, you got 34 crew to deal with here. So I think what we should do is assign a heads or a tails to a guy. So there's not a choice, it just happens. So since you wanted me to call, I'm going to say heads, Jobson is on Endeavor, and on the first race, and if it's tails, Ted is on Endeavor in the first race, and we'll swap there. Okay? Fair enough? Okay, Elizabeth.
I hope I don't mess this up. No, I got to do that again.
You got to get it up.
Okay, tails is up.
Tails, Ted is on Endeavor in the first race.
I was putting in a lot of late hours at the office. The pressure was really getting to me. My doctor told me if I didn't get some exercise, I'd be a prime candidate for a heart attack.
Nordic Track.
I had a terrible time losing weight after my second baby, and dieting wasn't enough.
Nordic Track.
I really wanted to enjoy this time with my grandson, but I didn't have the energy to keep up.
Nordic Track duplicates cross-country skiing. It tones, develops, and conditions all the major muscles of your upper and lower body. Independent research shows users prefer Nordic Track more than 6 to 1 over exercise bikes and rowing machines. So it's a great way to get in shape, manage stress, and help control weight.
Nordic Track was just what I needed to work off stress.
With Nordic Track, I was able to lose weight and still eat regular meals.
Now I've got more pep.
For details on Nordic Track and how you can get a free $129 electronic workout computer, call 1-800-637-2000.
3 outstanding gymnasts, but only one can win the national championship. Find out who takes the title at the men's final of the U.S. Challenge, Monday night at 10 Eastern on ESPN.
Just touch slowly. Hey, good, hold that.
What we are used to seeing are the 12 meters, boats that take 15 seconds to tack, 30 seconds to make a full circle. These are the J-boats. They take 40 seconds to tack, 2 minutes to make a full maneuver in a harbor where, according to the U.S. Coast Guard, the largest spectator fleet ever in Newport is watching this regatta. 3 races to be held over a 2-day period. The first 2 in Narragansett Bay, and the last race out in the open ocean of the Atlantic. The boats merely pieces in a chess match, constantly tacking back and forth. In this first race, Gary Jobson skippers Shamrock 5. And at the helm of Endeavor, Ted Turner.
55 now.
How's that?
No, you can go full.
How about it?
Now up now, 45.
Don't ease.
More spin up. 40 seconds.
Hey, we're okay. God, I hope so anyway.
One more dial up and down, you'll be fine. 30 seconds, I think you're good too.
All right, trim them in.
Feet on, guys.
Feet on, main in all the way.
25. Call the line there. I need those hand signals.
He's not giving you
18, 17. Okay? 16.
Where's the line?
Good course there. Just keep going straight. 10. 7. Start. 10. Beautiful. 5, 4.
Wait to leeward. Hey, Dave. Wait. Go ahead.
Endeavor, with Turner at the helm, took the start. Shamrock was behind and made the decision to go to the other side of Gould Island, but that didn't work either.
You're a little higher than he is. You can stick your head.
Got it.
Good get, guys. Way to get it. Good hit.
Keep coming. Nice pack. Great catch. Yeah. Beautiful. Nice one, you bet.
No.
Oh, God, hold on.
It was a sail riddled with opening night jitters.
Did you say you saw the weather mark? Yeah, I see it.
It's been a lot of years since we've seen that.
Coming up, Jared.
Coming up. Maine's okay, though. You think it can come in, or is it okay?
A 193-foot bridge. Only a 22-foot clearance for these J-boats whose masts are 171 feet off the water.
Get the safe up. Hold one. Hold. Hey, make it happen.
Gang, we're going to the other side of the island. We're throwing the bomb. Yeah.
The bomb indeed, because Jobson and his crew aboard Shamrock have fallen almost hopelessly behind Turner and Endeavor, and a huge spectator fleet following both of these spectacular J-boats.
Yeah, straight for the bridge. Mark!
Hold the guy there. The guy will be good.
Spinnaker sheet's real loose, so I don't know who's on it, but they're sure doing a... Yep, we'll leave the island to starboard.
Okay. Coming up a little bit this way.
Poor Gary.
Ted Turner said it best. Poor Gary. He and his crew aboard Shamrock hopelessly behind. Some sloppy crew work, and the chute hits the water aboard Shamrock 5.
Monkey, you got about 20 seconds.
Drop the jib, Mattingly. Drop the jib. Get the jib down.
High back, Monk.
I'm going to just take it with me. Mattingly. Jim, let's call the race committee and suggest, because of the light air, that we shorten the course and finish with, you know, after the bridge. It's only so much I could take. Can't see them.
They're out of sight. Communication. communication really is the big challenge on these boats. So what we've done is we've assigned 4 sections of the boat: the bow, the middle at the mast, the trimmers, and in the back. Ted will usually tell me what he wants to do, and I will relay it. Occasionally, if he feels like he wants to do something faster, he'll hail it out and it'll filter forward on its own. But for the most part, we just confer amongst ourselves, and I'm mostly his mouthpiece, although he does well for himself sometimes too.
And Peter Eisler should know. He's a veteran America's Cup campaigner.
Bingo, good.
All right, gang. Hey, all right. Okay, I'm going to bear off. You can take the chute down.
Race 1 to Ted Turner and his crew aboard Endeavor.
Is that Jerry Kirby did that?
Go up forward.
That's pretty good.
Did you hear that, Gary? Well, you said you go more if you need it. Trim.
I'm heading right at the finish.
Our streak from the catamaran race.
You have the fastest J-boat in the world, Miss Meyer. Nice going, gang.
Good job, Skipper.
With this crew and this boat, it wasn't very difficult.
With Ted Turner and Endeavor already across the finish line, it's a long trip for Gary Jobson and Shamrock 5 back into Newport Harbor. But for race 2, the skippers will switch boats.
The only way to travel is Cadillac style.
From new, more powerful sequential port fuel-injected V8s to the only roadster in the world with advanced traction control. From energy-absorbing crush zones designed to protect you and your family to the added control of sophisticated anti-lock brakes. This is the substance of Cadillac style.
Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style. Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style.
In 13 cities and 10 countries across the Pacific, they're playing our song. United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Halfway around the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
A few words on business and change.
The journals are daily, and that gives you a real competitive advantage. It's very tough out there, but it's also very exciting. We want to be the best ally that you've got.
Today's Wall Street Journal. Faster, tougher, smarter. Call 800-372-3000 for this special Journal offer. 12 weeks, just $29.75 with a money-back guarantee. Call 800-372-3000 now for the Wall Street Journal.
Okay, next is Elizabeth Meyer, the owner of Endeavor and the lady that was a visionary 5 years ago to put this all together. Elizabeth?
35-year-old Elizabeth Meyer, Washington Post heiress, and the woman who chose single-handedly to embark on the reconstruction of a piece of history. It was a dream, though she didn't know it then, that began when she was just 8 years old.
I was in England in the spring of '84 looking at various large old boats, including a couple of J-boats. And I was writing an article about them for Nautical Quarterly. So I was out sailing on Velshita, which is the only one of the 3 existing J-boats that was sailing at that time. We were coming down Southampton Water, and I was actually steering Velshita. And someone said, "Oh, look over there, there's Endeavor." So I looked over at Calshot Spit, which is an old seaplane base from World War II, and you could see Endeavor sitting there out in front of the hangars, looking pretty awful, and that's more or less what I thought. I figured she looked pretty forlorn, and it wasn't until the next day that I went down there and saw her, and she looked really terrible up close, even worse, real derelict. But when I got inside the boat and I could see her hull shape, I completely fell for her and immediately decided to buy her. Most of her keel had been cut off, including not only the ballast, which is the lead part, but also the steelwork part. And just, she had been badly mauled and had to be raised up in the air an additional 10 feet so that we could put the proper keel back under her. We built the rudder, we poured 70 tons of ballast inside the keel. We, laid the floor, the sole below on the boat, and just did a tremendous amount of structural work. When I first bought the boat and decided to do this restoration project, I thought that I could do it in England where she was, and I thought it would be fun and interesting to really run my own boatyard and oversee the project. So essentially, I was living in England with the boat and running my own boatyard for 18 months before Endeavour was put in the water and towed out of England to a real boatyard. In Holland, they're accustomed to building dikes and pushing back the sea. And so we got over there and they said, okay, we get the small crane for this job. And they just picked her out of the water in Amsterdam like she was nothing and dropped her on one of their, millions of barges. And we towed her across the IJsselmeer, which is what the Zuiderzee is now called, through a canal. We had to squeeze through a couple of bridges with literally 1 foot of space on each side of the boat, and got her to Houseman, the Royal Houseman shipyard, where she was picked out of the water. And she actually sat in Walter Houseman's driveway for almost a year while construction was completed on a big building that was sufficiently large to hold Endeavour. The steelwork in the boat was essentially complete when she went to Houseman. Houseman installed all the machinery, all the wiring, all the plumbing, the steering system, the entire interior, all the woodwork and joinery, the sole, the entire deck, all the deck hardware. They built the mast and boom. They rigged her. She was sanded and painted there. And really, the work that goes on a boat from when the hull is complete to when you finish a boat is approximately 7/8 of the job. So we handed them a hull and some plans, and they did the rest. Inside Endeavour is a pretty special place. The paneling is all made out of American cherry, and it's solid wood raised panels, which is somewhat unusual inside a boat. People are using plywood and veneers a lot. We didn't do that in Endeavour. It's all solid wood construction. And the finish is so good. People are constantly saying, how did you do this? How did they do this? And it's possible to do it, but you've got to really work at it. It's hard to build a J-boat. It's hard to make a mast that's 17 stories tall and only has a base 22 feet wide to hold it up. It's hard to make them stand up. And the pressures to which the boat and the rigging are subjected are enormous. They're absolutely huge. So technically and in terms of engineering, the boat is really a wonder. She's a work of genius.
One that cost Elizabeth Meyer $10 million and assured her place in J-boat history alongside names like Sopwith, Lipton, and Vanderbilt, and made her a modern-day heroine in the hearts of Endeavour's present-day crew.
The only way to travel is Cadillac style. Some people want more.
Cadillac Fleetwood for 1990. With a new, more powerful V8 engine, full-size 6-passenger luxury, and standard anti-lock brakes, nothing is more distinctive. Except, perhaps, the person who owns it.
Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style. Cadillac, Cadillac, Cadillac style.
In so long. Well, we can never agree on a restaurant, right?
Hey, I ordered already. I found us a great wine.
Oh, a decision maker. Oh, this is wonderful wine. I had this at David's.
I served this at my place. It was a big hit.
Oh, you guys, I was hoping you hadn't tried it yet.
Oh, come on. Look, we finally found something we all agree on, I mean, when was the last time that happened?
Ernest and Julio Gallo invite you to try White Grenache. It will change the way you think about Gallo.
Fall out for October excitement on ESPN. NFL Dream Season peaks as the best ever team is crowned at the Dream Bowl. The fall colors are spectacular on college football Saturdays. Top golfers shoot for the game's richest prize at the Nabisco Championships. The USA continues its battle for a World Cup soccer berth, while Olympic hopefuls seek a spot on America's World Championship gymnastics team. All in October on ESPN.
The skippers changed pieces, each going to another boat. This time, it's Ted Turner aboard Shamrock 5, Gary Jobson at the helm of Endeavor. The wind suddenly gets lighter just before the start of race 2. Turner suddenly, surprisingly, decides to go for the bigger sail with more power with just 7 minutes to go. Now, the fastest the crew has ever changed the sail before was 20 minutes. Could they do it with now just 5 minutes to go before the start of race 2 in a lighter breeze?
Okay, let's go. Yo.
High five.
Bring the other sail on deck and get it ready. And then go ahead and change when we can. I know we got to go ball-headed, but I think we're better off to do it. It's behind the beam. Look at the masthead.
I see you, yep.
Oh. Ease him out. No, we're not early. Not the way we're going. If we got the jib up, we might be.
The spectator fleet gathering in Newport Harbor. Race 2, the J-boats. Shamrock 5 against Endeavor. Turner against Jobson.
234 is straight line.
Hey, nice job on that headsail change, gang. That's what's putting us in the ball game here.
Okay.
Trim the main a bit.
You're slightly hard.
Hard on up there.
Pretty quick. Wind it out, yeah.
Trim the jib.
Another lift coming. I see a lift on this.
Good, they want it.
You want to have it?
Holding. See, on a day that the old croc can do it. Okay, I'm going to come up when I can. This thing's pretty much out of control.
Green is 41 seconds. Full speed. Nicely done, everybody. But they did a good job changing that jib.
Endeavor, with Gary Jobson at the helm, fell into a hole with no wind, and the current sweeps her to the other side of the bay. Shamrock, with Turner at the helm, got the new breeze first, and they took the lead.
God damn it, I'm not making it. Yeah, but we've lost it right here because we didn't stay up enough.
Turner misjudged the mark and had to make 2 tacks, which slowed him down. Endeavor and Jobson made no mistakes, and thus no extra maneuvers. They sailed in between the mark and Shamrock at 11 knots in big waves. Rounding the mark first, Endeavor with Gary Jobson at the helm. Ted Turner and Shamrock 5, 200 yards in arrears.
Go ahead. I'm going real slow, John. Main in, health to main. Go on, Larry, pal.
Look down when you get down.
Are we hooked on? No.
We gave up 200 yards. No, we didn't. We didn't stay up. Help me. I got it.
Okay. I was lucky he didn't make the mark. Nice set, everybody.
Ted Turner aboard Shamrock, even though he was still wearing the Endeavor colors, was having trouble pulling this race out.
Don't give up yet, gang. We might get another real break. Remember, you're crewing with the luckiest man in the world.
You better pull it all out, baby.
I had to be lucky with as little ability as I had.
And aboard Endeavor, a wave to the huge spectator fleet following the J-boats alongside.
That's what it sounds like when you win America's Cup. Nicely done.
So the series all square at 1 race apiece. 1 victory for Gary Jobson, 1 victory for Ted Turner, each winning aboard Endeavor. Shamrock twice now finishing a distant second. Race 3 coming up out on the waters of the Atlantic Ocean to decide this series.
Oh, go. We get a shot.
Right, crazy I wanted to ease it, man. I thought the boat was going to turn over.
That's a good one. Take it. They will do. Okay, gang, nice work. Done with dignity. Done with dignity.
Sometimes life takes an unexpected turn. We're not always prepared, but we should be. By protecting your mortgage with Allstate Life, you can make sure that the story you're about to see will never happen in your life.
They were the biggest men I'd ever seen. They lifted my mama's couch like it was a toy. I saw my whole house going in the truck. I ran to my room, but it was gone. But my mama was still there.
If you die, will they have to say goodbye to your house as well? Ask an Allstate agent about mortgage protection and make your family a promise. We'll help you keep.
As we drove away, I watched my house get smaller and smaller until it wasn't there anymore.
Hey, is that Don Mattingly?
Nope.
Look, it's Cal Ripken.
Guess again.
The AJD Cap Company presents authentic Major League Baseball signature caps featuring 80 of your favorite players' names, numbers, and signatures. Take it from me, Mel Allen, they're sure to become collector's items. To order yours, just call 1-800-221-1200. Hey, isn't that Dwight Gooden?
Nice try.
The NFL dream season continues as the LT Express collides with John Riggins. The 86 Giants battle the 82 Redskins. Sunday night at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN.
And I think it's just great that Shamrock has held together and lasted. You know, she went through the whole of World War II in a shipyard in Italy. And she didn't get ripped apart for the lead or anything else. She survived all that. And the senator, an Italian senator who had bought her before the war, put all this heavy junk in her. She went from a draft of 15 feet to 17 feet. And that's one reason she's so comparatively slow now. She's still got an awful lot of stuff in her.
Sir Thomas Johnstone Lipton was a sportsman, tea and coffee baron, celebrity, and the man who commissioned Shamrock 5 to be built in 1929. Lipton was 80 years old that year, and Shamrock was his hope for winning back the America's Cup. He died 2 years later without fulfilling that dream. But the old man's Challenger was the only J-boat in Europe, and therefore the model for the future J-class champions.
You know, John, as we're standing here aboard this great ship Shamrock, I guess everybody's love affair with her goes back into history. But when you talk about the restoration process, that really began with the Museum of Yachting with a very magical kind of phone call.
That's right. 3 years ago, our executive director picked up the phone and was asked the question, would you like to have a J-boat? And the thought was so stunning that he called a board meeting, which took place about 3 hours later. And the first question that was asked was, how can we possibly, as a young museum, take on such a monumental project? And the second question was, well, how can we not? So we voted to accept it, and fortunately we had enough savvy people on our board that we were able to put together a program that seems to have worked.
What are your thoughts now from where you started to the beautiful ship you've ended up with?
Well, when we got it, I never expected that we would be able to do this because of the money involved. And I have to say, if it wasn't for Elizabeth Meyer, it would not have happened. She saw the necessity to take this back to its racing look. In 1930, if as a museum we're going to present this boat to the public, it should look the way it did in its racing days, and that's without the bulwarks and the big deck house and all of the anchor windlass and all of the equipment that it had for cruising. So without Elizabeth Meyer, this would not have happened, and we're very grateful to her for her generosity.
Speaking of the racing look here, we really should step back and admire your look, because this is not something you just walk in and select off the rack.
No. Well, I'm not in perfect period form here, but from a distance it looks like the way the old sailing masters would dress while racing aboard. Generally the afterguard wore jackets and ties and a cap, and to distinguish themselves from the crew. Today we all have these modern shirts on. I thought I'd speak for the museum and say, hey, listen, this is the way they used to do it.
Why is it important to continue the history and the tradition?
Well, we've lost too many great boats over the years. Now, these boats are wonderful objects. They're not just playthings for the rich. I see them as an art form. They're beautiful sculptural objects, and we've lost too many of them. And here we have a chance with only 3 J-boats left in the world, and we have 2 of them right here. Here's a chance to see them and experience them again, because no one will ever build something like this again. So I think it's important that something be saved, because once they're gone, they're gone.
With a sense of history in mind, both crews paid their own way here to be part of this modern J-boat legacy.
I think it's history. It's history that, you know, it's I think a miracle that we can see these boats back on the water again, the size, and, you know, thanks to Elizabeth Meyer and the Museum of Yachting for, you know, making it special for us, special for everybody. It's a great spectator sport, too.
It was the golden age of yachting. They said you'll never see, you know, they're gone. You'll never see them again. There's one right there, and that's what makes this whole thing just really, really great.
The whole America's Cup tradition comes back loud and clear, and I think that's something that we're trying to get everybody to focus on. Is the Cups, everything that happened in the last couple of years, that's gone. This is what America's Cup and yachting's all about, and the J-boats bring back a lot of that history and tradition.
The only analogy I can make is if I was a baseball player and I wanted to play in an all-star game, and I could bring Babe Ruth and Satchel Paige out of the grave, and we all got together and had a game, it's sort of that equivalent.
After sailing on a J-boat, everything else is just a dinghy.
You go down below most boats, and it's just aluminum, and there's nothing else. The ribs are exposed, and down here, it's cut glass and fireplaces and full living interior. So it's different. We're not used to that. We like it.
For me, having played football and never been to a championship game, this is it. This is an interesting experience. A little bit of history, no, a lot of history actually, and the crew that's assembled, Turner, Jobson, it's at the helm, it's just really special. Elizabeth Meyer is an amazing woman.
You know, I can die now. I feel like I've achieved everything I ever wanted to do in sailing. It's great.
Okay, my broker, my banker.
Now there's an easier way active investors can combine all their investments in one place. A Fidelity USA Ultra Service account with one phone number to call 24 hours a day, one professional to talk to, one statement that shows everything. And Fidelity USA offers so many choices. Stocks and bonds at discount commission rates. Fidelity's wide range of mutual funds, plus hundreds more. Unlimited money market checking. A Gold MasterCard or Visa Gold. You spend less time managing phone calls and paperwork and more time managing your money.
You're all wondering why I've called you here. I've replaced all my accounts with this, Fidelity USA.
And now you can consolidate all your investments with Fidelity USA. For your free USA Fact Kit, call 1-800-255-5700. Call now, 1-800-255-5700.
The year was 1977. The music was disco. The men, Ted Turner and Gary Jobson. Friends and, respectively, the skipper and tactician aboard Courageous that would win the America's Cup that year. Turner, 38, hailing from Atlanta via Cincinnati. Jobson, a mere 27, a Maryland native. Together, they had a friendship that has spanned years, continents, and more than one ocean.
This is a big thing. We haven't sailed together in I'm going to be real calm and not like I used to be. And, you know, we'll just do the best we can, and nobody, you know, we're out here to have a good time. You know, it's, but that doesn't mean we don't want to work as hard as we possibly can, and we'll try and get organized as much as we can today, do a fair amount of tacking. We'll try and set the spinnaker at least one time if we can, and
filed them.
You got it. It's ready to go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions? And then don't be afraid to ask the leader in your part of the boat. You know, do a lot of communicating. If you're not sure about something, ask. It's a lot. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. Okay?
Victories come in a lot of ways, and one way is to get to the finish line first, but there's other victories here against the Endeavor crew. First of all, we're going to have a great spinnaker set. We'll get everything hooked up really early. Let's get that chute up a good, you know, a little bit, 70 or 80 feet to sneak it up a little. And we'll have a good set. Our jibes yesterday are spectacular. So I think we've got some really nice boat handling, and we're just going to be the crew that does well all the time.
Historic Newport, Rhode Island. And the first time that these two America's Cup teammates, Turner and Jobson, had squared off against each other.
All of us are sailing have sailed 12 meters in maxi boats and in dinghy Olympic classes, but we always read about these J boats, and we saw the old film clips, the black and white photographs, and there was always this lingering feeling that there was something better out there. There was something grander, something bigger, something faster, something that had to bring all these people together, and that was the J boats, and it was only a memory. It was something from the past, and here it is. We're actually living that dream, and it's every bit as special as we expected.
The crews are pretty evenly matched, and the gear and the sails are so large, it's like everything, those of us, and we're all used to sailing much smaller boats. It takes 2 or 3 times as long and 2 or 3 times as much effort to do anything here. So from the helmsman's standpoint, the sail handling looks like everything's in slow motion, but the guys are busting their chops to get it done. It's just everything's so much larger, it takes 2 or 3 times as much time.
So these sailing buddies are now rival skippers with distinctively different personalities, different sailing and motivational skills, and different styles, both at the helm and in life.
Okay, get that engine ready.
There isn't that much difference between winning and losing. It really isn't. Once you realize the situation is totally hopeless.
When you're behind in a sailboat race, you never give in, because sometimes the miracles happen.
Just quiet! Just shut up!
Yeah, it kind of makes your blood curdle when you hear him yelling back there. You know, and he wants to get something done. We got the guys to do it.
We're the best crew in modern J-boat racing.
Over 1,000 boats assembled here for this legendary event of the J-boats, from the very small to the very large.
He's 27 years old, and his company was just purchased for $10 million. 34, and she was just made vice president of a well-known bank. 45 and sailing the Pacific for a year. You may wonder how these people do it, but they're just like you and me, sharing the same desire for success. And while there's no one formula for success, there is one magazine with information to improve your portfolio, your career, your lifestyle. With your paid subscription to Fortune, you'll receive the Investor's Guide, plus this free Fortune briefcase with multifunctional pockets and solar calculator, which is being used by this 47-year-old president of a successful medical company. Call 1-800-678-8900. Get 17 issues at almost 50% off the cover price, payable in 3 installments of just $9.97 each. That's something even highly successful people can't turn away from. 1-800-678-8900.
It's the richest event ever on the Senior PGA Tour. $1.5 million is on the line at the RJR Championship. Coverage begins Friday afternoon at 4 Eastern live on ESPN.
The venue, the Atlantic Ocean, usually the venue for the America's Cup. But this, the J-boats, in a different era. Ted Turner back aboard Endeavor. Gary Jobson, the skipper of Shamrock. Race 3 began with a 2-hour delay because of lack of wind. The crews checked and rechecked all the riggings. All of the sails were straightened. And there was even time for lunch. The maneuvering at the start was intense. Both skippers, Jobson and Turner, trying to outguess each other again.
We better get down. He's going to push us over.
2 minutes, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, guys.
Hold the main out. Not hold it. Main out. Come on, hurry up. He's coming. Come on, come on. Main out. You can't get it fast enough. Jib out, trim for speed.
Let's everybody get psyched up now. At least till we're half a mile ahead. Then we can slack off a bit.
Ho! Ho! Get up there! Get up there! Get up there! Get up there! Get up! Get up! Come on, main in.
He's going to get us. He's going to squeeze us off.
He's going to be over.
Quiet, quiet. It's too late. I've got the helm hard over.
Shamrock, the heavy underdog, with Jobson at the helm, crossed the start line first, almost cutting in half the huge spectator fleet.
Wait the weather and back.
Endeavor, with Turner at the helm, forced to tack back and